Her Majesty was stood there in front of me, off to the side. I could see my mum. And I'm just like, I'm the first person from Barbados to do this. And I couldn't cope.
As Olympic fever takes over the UK, we have someone who's no stranger to winning gold. My next guest is a real-life hero. Former Lance Corporal in the Life Guards, the senior regiment of the Household Cavalry and the British Army. He's the reigning overall World Cup and European champion in para-bobsleigh, as well as multiple World Cup and World Championship medalist. I knew this would be an interesting and inspiring chat on Not Fazed with Faye, but listening to his story, he truly is one in a million. This incredible human being is a very kind and brave soul who took his time to sit down with me and open up about life. It's safe to say this guy is definitely a winner, but I know he's only just getting started. Listen to this week's episode with the incredible legend that is Corie Mapp. Welcome. Corie Mapp is in the house.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Oh my goodness, thank you for coming. I feel very, very lucky and very grateful that you're taking this time to be with me today. For those listeners and viewers that don't know Corie Mapp, we actually only met through my husband because you train at CrossFit together.
Yes, ma'am.
So there is a lot to dive into today, but I have to say I'm fascinated just by you as a human being, and that's why I wanted you on Not Fazed with Faye. You seem to have accomplished so much within your life, and nothing has stopped you from doing that.
Oh, very kind of you to say.
I'm going to keep saying nice things, Corie. I've got
pretty
nothing
hard
but
to get
love.
A person of color to blush, so it's okay.
Oh, no. You train at CrossFit with Yuan, and it's hardcore, right? CrossFit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, our training is pretty solid.
Are you training every single day? Or do you take days off like this one?
It is my intention to train as often as I can, but on average now I'm doing 3 or 4 days a week.
An hour?
Sometimes I will go a little bit longer than an hour.
It's intense, but I feel like it's also for your mind.
It is. I think the training that we do is largely geared towards my mental state. It's great for the fitness, obviously,
of course.
But the sport that I do, bobsleigh, is largely very cerebral, so it's very much geared towards getting me to be mentally stronger.
So you're an international para-athlete. Can we talk about that?
For sure.
You've won like world championships. Tell us how that came about. Like, where did that all start for you?
Well, it started the sports journey. I've always been.
You're a sports nut.
Yeah.
I take you. You're an Arsenal fan.
I sure am.
Sure am. Okay.
The only club in London.
Just clarifying for that people at home.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lee Dixon. Hey.
I've always been sports inclined, and I grew up playing cricket, junior cricket. Like, we had a lot of West Indies players coming from our school.
Because you grew up in Barbados, right?
Yeah. So I grew up around cricket. I started playing volleyball from very young, and I used to run track as well. So,
wow.
So for me, I've always been involved in sport one way or another. Then when I came over here in 2004 or 5 to join the army, and I actually got into the army, I made the army volleyball team.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, we like every like all the services have teams, and we come together yearly to play tri-services sport.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think that sort of just kind of breaks it up a little bit, so it's not the same old every day, and you got something to kind of look forward to, or even just the fact that you're bringing your hobbies to your career. That's awesome.
It's good because it keeps you engaged as well. If you're good at something, you wanna try and do it. So yeah, they picked me up for volleyball, and I went away and played it on a few occasions. And then after I got injured in 2010, I was then introduced, like, I was like, what's next? What can I do now?
You had a bit of a hunger for it.
I wanted, like, I lost my job. I lost what, my life was. So I was like, well, what's my purpose now? Kind of thing. Because I'm going to spend the following years, the immediate years after, trying to figure out where my life is going and what I can do with my life. It was at that point that I was introduced to Paralympic sport through it was before Help for Heroes. There was this organization called Battle Back. And Battle Back taught me how to ride. They taught me how to play golf. They taught me they took me to Uganda to play cricket against the Ugandan team.
Incredible.
They introduced me to volleyball again. And they even taught me how to drive a manual with prosthetic limbs. Like we had this random like little old lady in a Fiesta turn up outside of Headley Court in Surrey, and she's like, "I'm here to teach you to drive." I'm like, "Okay, let's go."
I have all the time for this conversation. Whoever this woman is, I want to like meet her.
I don't remember her name or anything. I'm sorry, but yeah, she turned up in this little Fiesta, and we used to go driving through Epsom.
Casual.
Awesome. Yeah, and she's like, "Right, today we're gonna do emergency stops." And this guy pulled out on me right in front of Epsom, where the Epsom Derbies run. And I broke and pushed in the clutch, and she was like, "Yeah, well, that lesson's done." so
Tick next.
So that was it. We just used to have a great time, and it was great therapy for me as well, because I didn't want to sit in an office and talk to people about what I was feeling and all this kind of stuff. So I just it was great. She did more than teach us to drive.
Wow. Oh, I love that. I do feel like the people that we meet in life, it's meant to be. They're going to be on our path at some point, and they come into our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Correct.
So I live by that. Can we go back to the army? What was your like official kind of role?
So I joined the Household Cavalry Regiment, which at the time was based in Hyde Park Barracks and Windsor.
Okay.
So the ceremonial part where we would escort, Her Majesty at the time, to escort to state occasions, the state opening of Parliament, trooping in the colour, and visiting dignitaries.
Wow.
I was a lifeguard, and I would
You were a protector.
Yeah.
Come on. Guys, this is a real life hero in front of us. You're welcome.
Oh, jeez.
You're going to have to take all these compliments because I've got a bag of them.
Oh, dear.
You're so modest. So sweet. Anyway, back to the serious conversation that we will have. Right. No, I wanted to know more about how you got into the army, because my brother nearly became a Marine, and there was something about his interest into going to, you're protecting us, you're representing the country, and I just think it's a very admirable thing. As much as you might not be able to take that compliment, we thank you, but I also just wanted to know where it came from and how it all came about for you.
Well, my introduction to the military came in secondary school.
That's early.
Yes. My first day of secondary school, some boys turned me over, and the big boys, like fifth form boys, turned me over in the bathroom, took away my money and stuff. So that I was going
Whoever
to school.
You are, we're hunting you down now.
Oh, jeez.
Bullies are the reason why we're here today. Yeah.
They turned me over in the bathroom, took away my money and stuff. So me being a country boy, we didn't my weapon was a stone. So they had a rock pile outside of the gate, and I waited for them outside the gate. And I did what I did.
Took your revenge.
I took my revenge.
He took his money back.
Yeah. So I just sheeted the place in rocks.
I don't have time for bullies.
Yeah. So I was given an ultimatum. So my mum came to the school. I was given an ultimatum and told that I'm gonna have 7 lashes and join cadets or suspension. So I was like, yeah, well, just give me the lashes.
Wow.
So
And what about the cadets? Did you even
the
think about
cadets,
it? Were you phased by it? You
no,
just were like, I'll do it.
no, because this came like a few weeks later, like down the line,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy who was running the cadets at the time, a guy called Captain Ralston Nichols, he was like a father figure to a lot of us, and I saw him around the school, and he'd be like, do you want to join cadets? And I would be like, I'm not interested.
But he knew how he was going to guide you.
He
So it
had,
put you on the straight and narrow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So when the opportunity came, he told my mother, give him to me and I'll make him a man.
Wow.
And then from that time, like the first thing I did when I joined cadets was shoot. So I was like, I'm straight in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give a boy a gun. He's just going to
in.
have some good time. I mean, like, you just learn so many life skills anyway. But wow.
I was straight in. So, during the time, the 5 years that I was in cadets, like going further back, like in 1985, 86, I came here. And my uncle took me to, myself and my sister to Buckingham Palace to see the changing in the guard.
Oh, wow.
I remember at that time telling my sister, I want to do that.
Oh, you just had like
I
a
desperately want to
feeling
do
that.
Yeah. And then when the cadets came about, like when I got to the stage where I was teaching other cadets classes and stuff or lessons, like you would look through the pamphlets that you were teaching from, and it was just like, oh my goodness, that's a Grenadier Guard. That's the same thing, or that's an Irish Guard, or that's this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just fascinated with it. And I kind of made a vow to myself that I'm going to try. Even if I'm not successful, I'm going to try.
I love that.
And then I went through a difficult period in school and left school without any qualifications or anything. And my mom put me in this organization called the Barbados Youth Service.
Mm-hmm.
And it destroyed me to be able to not go to cadets and to look at my friends living the dream and getting promoted and doing whatever they want to do. And I was stuck in this organization for delinquent kids. Ugh. So I pulled myself together at that point and started to sort of channel.
It's as if someone labeled you already and you were like, this isn't what I'm meant to be.
Yeah. Very much so, actually. So my mom was determined to set me on a path. And I'm eternally grateful to her for that.
But do you think it came from the parenting, or do you think there was something inside of you that was also determined to just do right by you?
For me personally, if I decide I want to do something, I'm going to do it. Like I will pursue it relentlessly.
You're all or nothing.
If I don't want to do it, like you're going to have to whip me to do it. And I think you have to whip me to do it. I think you will tell you about that. Like I struggle with cardio.
Okay.
Like I hate cardio.
Really?
Like,
sounds like someone else I know.
I really, yeah. So like when we have these long, 50 calories, 100 calories, that kind of stuff, it breaks me.
Wow.
Emotionally,
mentally, obviously physically.
Yeah.
So thanks, Mom.
Yeah. Massive thanks to her. She's been as we were talking about earlier, I was spoiled because I'm the last kid.
You're the one of 5 kids. One of 5, and you're the only boy.
The only boy, and the last one.
All the girls in the household are ruling the roost.
Correct. So I was spoiled. Mm-hmm. So she was determined that I would not fall by the wayside.
Okay.
So I went to a place called the Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic again, got involved in volleyball, played combined schools volleyball and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then when I left there, I went to I tried civvy jobs.
Okay.
And I hated it. I didn't get along with civvy jobs. So I joined the Barbados Defence Force Reserves at the time. I was 18, 19. Went through recruiting. And
how is that insane? Is that tough?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing it every day. You're doing it once a week and maybe 2 weekends a month.
Okay.
So for me, like fitness was an issue at that time because I was working. I was leaving home early in the morning and coming back home late at night. So I couldn't get to do as much fitness as I would have liked. So I would have to do it on weekends when I was off. And then when I was running a track while I was off once and tore my groin.
Ugh.
And
That is not a fun injury to have.
it was horrible. I was on my own as well. So I had to kind of suck it up. And they had told me not to go by myself. So I was headstrong and went and did it anyway and got injured.
Yeah,
But
you do strike me as a headstrong character. Not in a negative way, though. Just once you've set your mind to something, you're going to go for it and give your all.
yeah, I am of the belief that
Not stubborn. Sometimes headstrong can be.
I am stubborn.
Oh, okay. And he's stubborn as well.
I'm stubborn.
It's okay. It's not going to go against you.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those that, the only way you'll know if you can do something is if you try it. And
Nice.
the only way that you can fail is if you
Try.
don't start.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's guaranteed way to fail.
These are wise words of wisdom, Corie.
Yeah.
You live by them.
I think about things quite deeply.
Mm.
And these are, like, obviously having my own 3 girls, I'm just like,
You have 3
I have
girls.
3 girls. I have no boy shots. So,
That's okay.
yeah.
They're going to do you proud no matter what.
Yeah. They are
How
actually, they're
old
good
are
girls.
they?
21, 19, and 15.
You have got your work out for you right now.
Yeah.
Wowza.
They're good.
They're good though?
Yes, they are very good. 2 in uni
Mm-hmm.
and 1 just coming up on her GCSEs.
Nice. Are they into sport like their dear old
No.
dad? No. Oh, that's interesting.
Not even a little bit.
Because my dad really got me into the sport. I was doing it all. Like I was running for the athletics club and swimming and hockey, netball. Like I was just like, I think this is the bonding time that I get with my dad. Worked abroad, so when I did get time with him, I was like, I'm going to do all the stuff with my dad. But now I'm like, no, Dad, I'm dancing, I'm singing,
Oh, jeez.
and I'm going to be a drama queen. And now I've got a podcast.
Fair enough.
He's proud of me no matter what. But I just think like it's interesting. They may have a love for it later in life. Who knows?
Yeah, I think Jodie used to like football, but she had a bad experience with a team in Swindon, and she never went back. So, yeah, that's what happened. Erin used to play netball when she was in middle school in Windsor, and Alexa just is not
Zero
physically
interest.
inclined to do anything.
But she's not lazy. Oh. How can they be lazy with a dad like you?
Well,
Each to their own.
yeah.
They'll find their way.
Their mom is pretty relaxed as well, to
Yeah.
be fair. Her idea of a good time is she likes reading,
Mm-hmm.
and she likes her quiet time. She's not
I kind of love
not
that though
she's
for her.
not lazy.
Yeah.
She's not a lazy person, but she
likes what she likes.
she likes her like, if she's not working, she's just completely relaxed. So
Yeah.
and more power to her for that.
Yeah.
That's
But
her
she's
choice.
not kind of putting herself in situations that she doesn't want to be in.
No.
She doesn't feel like she has to please anybody else. She's just like, this is my time. I'm going to do this. I kind of like that.
She knows what makes her happy, and she does it.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
That took me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, she has a fantastic brain.
Really.
Like, she's a
Smart
proper
cookie.
tech person.
She's cool.
She's brilliant. She knows numbers and she knows tech.
It's like genius.
Yes.
Cool.
And she's just like, she works for the NHS. And
Wow.
she's like I've told her she could go for managerial position. She's like, nope, I don't want anyone else's problems.
Oh my God.
So, like that's her
Yeah,
thing. I'm not
yeah.
angry with her for that.
No, God,
That's her
no.
thing.
She's making you proud no matter what. Wow, NHS. We did sidetrack. We were talking about, we ended up talking about your daughters, which
Right.
I'm fascinated by because I'm all about empowering women. And I want to know who this next generation that's coming through, and they sound awesome. But we were talking about you and your position in the army and how it all kind of took off.
Yeah. So, right. So so I joined the BDF, and then I realized that my dad didn't want me in the army, period.
Really?
Um,
Like adamant about
like
it?
he did not like it. He hated it.
For what it was, or scared for his son
I don't know.
fighting?
I don't
That's
know.
really interesting.
I wish I knew.
Yeah.
But my dad was a very quiet and very cerebral man. He was very, he was very deep in his own thoughts and whatnot. He was, when I came along, my dad was like ill and that kind of stuff, and so I missed like stories
His
that my
prime
sisters would
years.
tell
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I never saw that guy. So
Wow. So you kind of missed out on a little bit of that father-son connection.
correct. My brother-in-law, Wayne, he's the guy that raised me pretty much.
Wow. Because there's a big gap between you and your elder sister, right?
Correct. Yeah. My oldest sister is well into her 60s.
So it's like having extra parents, technically. Wow.
Yeah. So, I dropped out. Well, no, I didn't drop out. I applied for the police to be a special constable at the time.
And this is still in Barbados?
Yeah.
Okay.
And at that time, being a special constable was like an easy job. It was like, you just had to do what you had to do or whatever. And it was only, I think it was 12 weeks training or 6 weeks training, something along those lines. So I applied for it, and like because he wanted to be a cop. He wanted to be a police.
Oh, okay.
And so it was kind of like if he was living his dream through me.
Oh, I love that. I love that for your dad.
Yeah.
Do you think you kind of took the position because of your dad as well?
I pursued it at the time because, like, I can tell you, like, well, I'll get to it in the end. So
Corey's predicting the whole episode.
So essentially, what happened was something happened, and I ended up being a police constable instead.
Oh.
Yeah. So instead of going, I turned up to collect my uniform and stuff, and I was thinking I was going there for like a little 12 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
And it would be further down the road. And it turned out that I was going for 6 months residential, and I was going the next day.
Oh my God. So your life just like changed.
Changed just immediately. And he loved it.
Oh, great.
He loved it.
Yeah.
And
but did you love it?
I absolutely adored it.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the best 6 months of my life.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. I trained with some absolute lunatics and support people. It was good. It was a fantastic time
that was
in
the
my life.
beginning.
It was the beginning of something,
Yeah.
for sure. And then, because I think in all this, everything that I had gone through, every stage of life that I went through, strengthened me in another way for me to be able to deal with something strong, something more adverse, or whatever the case might be.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through, and when I passed out, and this is where I was going just now, and I told you I would get back to it. My father was literally like, there was no sun that day. He was the sun. Like, he was absolutely beaming. That was his, I'd never seen him so proud or so supportive or so whatever.
Yeah.
He took pictures with me, which is stuff that
was that rare?
That was
yeah.
thing.
So he didn't want his picture taken until he just had probably the proudest day of his life.
Yeah, it was pretty much.
That's incredible.
That made me happy to see him happy. My sisters and my mum, they were gonna be happy either way.
Yeah.
So it was an extremely proud moment for myself to be able to have that with him.
Yeah. You'll never forget that.
No, definitely not. So I moved on, and then I joined the SWAT unit and stuff, and, and I learned how to do canine dog handling and stuff.
Wow.
It was great. But in moving on, I felt like I was still missing out on something.
Oh, like you hadn't found your purpose yet.
Yeah. So myself and a buddy of mine called Terry, we took leave and turned up to do the Royal Marines selection course while we were still police officers. in Barbados. And
You're
it was,
like heroes that are rebellious.
yeah. And it was just like so we turn up here. We failed the first time and we're gonna be passed it the second time. And
I mean, I've heard it's incredibly hard, so
it is hard.
I'm not surprised.
It's hard.
But it didn't stop you from trying again.
No. And then like after passing this, I think it stressed my dad a bit, if I'm being completely honest. Because he died 2 weeks later.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. After I had done the course, the PRMC and stuff, I went home and he passed it 2 weeks later, and then I just thought, oh no, this is my fault.
I mean,
like he didn't.
Probably the most natural thing for you to blame yourself, but you know that he lived a full life.
Because I didn't tell him.
All these children.
Tell him what I was doing.
Well, then it's definitely.
He found out.
Oh, I see. Do you live with that? Do you live with that feeling that you did something?
He was not well.
Yeah.
Like before that, but I think the intent to leave the country and not
communicate with them about what you were doing.
Well, my mom and sisters knew, and they knew the full story, but and I didn't tell him because I didn't.
But you didn't want to worry him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were doing all the right things.
Yeah, well, I like to think that.
I think you were, and I think he knew that.
But it was difficult for me because then I thought, oh no, so I just spent a few months.
Yeah, what happened after that? Kind of how did you deal with that situation?
So I spent a couple of months then. I went back to work as a police officer, and I got transferred from the K9 section because they found out what I did. So they were like, well, your dog's gonna die, or we're not gonna give you a new one because you want to leave.
Oh,
so
because you'd gone to try and become a Marine.
Yeah. And then they heard pieces of it.
Yeah.
They didn't know. But what they didn't understand was if at that time, that's why I say things happen for a reason. If at that time they'd given me a new dog, I would never have left.
Of course.
I would never have left. I would have stayed there, and because I was doing okay. I did, like a couple of weeks earlier, I was given a accommodation along with my partner Sharifa.
Wow.
For I think it was exceptional work or something. We found a boatload of drugs in some part of Barbados.
God.
So, yeah. So
you were excelling.
I was excelling. I wasn't doing too bad in that department. But then they transferred me back to some place that I didn't want to be. But I went back there and I gave it my all, and I still didn't get on with the people that were there.
But still, there was probably this feeling of I'm not where I'm meant to be.
Exactly. So from the time I went back there, I was looking for a way out, and that's the God's honest truth.
Yeah, it's as if you were looking for an excuse for someone to go. You gotta go.
They didn't put me on any courses to improve myself, and it was kind of plain for me. It felt, maybe I could be wrong, because I don't know what the leadership was thinking, but at the time it just felt like I was just filling a gap. I wasn't going anywhere quickly.
And you're not that kind of guy.
I wanted something. I wanted to pursue something.
Yeah.
So I went and saw a guy who turned out to be a corporal of horse in the Household Cavalry.
Wow.
At the British High Commission in Barbados. And he was just like, I got the perfect regiment for you. I'm like, okay, show me.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Sign me
100%.
up.
I was in before he even finished the sentence.
Wow.
So then he showed me a video of this scimitar, which is the small tanks that we use.
Okay.
Like bombing across the prairie in Canada.
Wow.
I was just like, I'm sold. I want this. I need this.
Yeah. Where's my uniform?
But what he didn't do was tell me about the horses in London.
Oh.
So
tell us more.
So I went to Purbright so we had a prison riot and whatever else, and some things went wrong with where I was, and I decided at that point, it's no. So I resigned from the police force, and the day after I left, I flew here. and I just picked up my savings. I left the wife and the 2 daughters at the time,
Wow.
and came here for a year on my own to go through that process, and it was hard. So when I got to Purbright, we had this guy called Captain. He was Captain Kibble, and he put us in to stand up in a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes, "Okay, also cavalry, yeah, right. Blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue." So that's how they. So it was like, so basically,
They were categorizing you, or
yeah, lifeguards, blues, and royals.
Okay.
So he just went down the line: blue, red, blue, red, blue. Because like obviously you do. Like, I didn't do any research on the regiment that kind of way. I was just like, I want to get in the tank. And
Yeah,
go across.
yeah.
So he
So
also said,
what was your color? Then what were you?
I was red, so
Okay.
I was a lifeguard.
Okay.
So
Which is perfect.
it's fine. It was good.
Yeah.
I had something to work towards.
Uh-huh.
So then, as the course went on, they started talking about horses. I was just like, I don't want to repeat the words, but I was just like, what are you talking about horses?
Mm-hmm.
So the careers office here never told me about the horses either.
What?
So, and like I never really did any research, because at the time the internet wasn't a thing. I didn't have access to computers.
No one really had a phone.
And I didn't have those. Yeah. So
time when tech wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of went through the process a little bit blindly.
Okay.
And so he goes, "Oh yeah, well when you guys get to Knightsbridge," I'm just like, "Oh no, sir, I'm not going to Knightsbridge. I'm going to Windsor." He's like, "Okay, you'll go where you're told."
Who's this guy?
So I said, "Okay." I said, "But I don't want to go. I want to go to Bovington. I want to go and drive the tanks." He was like, "No, you're going to London first." So like, so from that time I kicked and screamed a little bit.
Yeah, stubborn. Yeah.
Didn't want it. It was clear. I made it clear. I don't want this. But I went through writing school, and it was probably one of the best. It turned out to be one of the best experiences of my life. I learned to jump.
Wow.
I learned to proper horse management. I did cross country jumping. I learned to play polo.
Oh my gosh, that's
so
just
many different things.
amazing.
And then on top of that, like when you ride out the ceremonial gate to escort Her Majesty somewhere, there was no greater feeling.
I mean, it's giving me chicken skin.
It was.
Chicken skin is goosebumps in my my language, because it's incredible. It's so inspiring.
It was
the fact that you had so much passion, and just you loved being, representing, and just everything that came with it. It was very patriotic of you.
I'm the only Barbadian to get to do it.
Yeah.
And I got to do it kind of by mistake.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wait. No, I'm going to Windsor. No, you're not. You're gonna do this. Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Casual.
Yeah. Yeah. So
just do what you're told, Corie.
Just do what you're told.
Might turn out to be the best.
Like it.
Yeah, it might turn out to be the best thing you've ever done.
Yeah. So I did that, and the parts, like I sat on my horse outside of. I didn't tell my mother this.
Okay.
But I remember, like.
But you're gonna tell us.
Yeah. I sat outside. So basically, when you're doing Horse Guards Parade, you're sat in the boxes. And, like, at that time, she was still very mobile. She's 85 now.
Wow.
At that time, she was still very mobile. And I would be sat on my horses on Whitehall, just minding my own business. And I would just feel this presence just stood there, hands in kimbers and stuff. And she's just looking up at me, just smiling.
Oh my God.
And
that's melting me.
And I, honest to God, like, I have never, that melted my heart.
Yeah.
Because I was able to make her proud.
There's something I can relate to you about, is the making your parents proud. There's something about they've given us what they've given us, and they've guided us, and taught us everything that we know. And when you get to just I don't know. There's something about making them happy. I am a people pleaser by nature, by the way, but with my parents, it's something different. Like I've never really wanted to get their attention. I've never really acted out, rebelled. I was trying to be a golden child when I was young. And I think it's because I could see what it was with my siblings around me. If you did break the rules or you did act out, you would see the disappointment. And I just never wanted them to look at me like that.
That disappointment.
I wanted them to be so proud. And still now to this day, I'll never forget like my dad walking me down the aisle to Yuan. And he was just like the happiest I've ever seen him.
I'm dreading that day.
With your kids.
Just so you know.
No, you wait.
Yeah.
You wait. They're going to find a gent like you.
I'm not a crier, but I think that's going to break me.
It's the day. It is the day. Dad definitely. My dad wears his heart on his sleeve. He's very sensitive, and I kind of love that is something he's not necessarily proud of. It's a part of his makeup that he doesn't really share with people. But when my dad is, moved by something, he's not afraid to cry. He's not afraid to show his emotions, and I just think there's power in that.
Emotional investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to make parents proud and to,
it's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing because they're not going to be around forever. I'm trying not to get upset talking about that because I adore my parents. I think I want them around forever, and I have to face facts that that's not a real thing. Like this is life, and they've given me everything that I could dream of, and I'm gonna keep pursuing my dreams and hopefully become a parent myself one day. Who knows? But I just all I want to do is make them proud. Yeah. Know that I did everything I possibly could.
Mm-hmm. I get you. I feel you. The only time, the time that I cried, it was we were escorting the Prime Minister or the President of Ghana, and Her Majesty was stood there in front of me, and like off to the side, I could see my mum. And I'm just like, I'm the first person from Barbados to do this, and then I could see her, and I could see her, like
wiping the tears, getting the tissue out.
I was like, okay, and I couldn't cope. Yeah, so I just kind of
incredible moment.
I just kind of silently sat there and sobbed for a little bit, and
the achievements that you have accomplished are huge. Like I think you excelled in everything that you did once you had been given the role that you've been given. Like even when it came to the cadets, you were already like then training the cadets, and you were, and then when it came to another job, you were already excelling in that job, and then you decided to, you were just constantly ahead of the game.
I'm a firm believer that if you, like, you might not necessarily like, you may not, might not necessarily be something that you wanted to do from the beginning, but if you are invested, you will progress.
Trust the process.
Yeah, like if you go in half cocked and go, I'm just gonna go through the motions.
Yeah.
But if I go to something, I'm gonna give it my best.
We say don't phone it in. That is like. Yeah. Okay, so then the army.
Yeah. So
you served in Afghanistan.
I did.
The years of
2009, 2010.
I mean, that time. It's still now. It's just like it's crazy what people went through. Constantly, it's happening around us. Now, obviously, and in history, we're still shocked by the things that happen in this world, and just you serving, and you got in your tank. You got your tank.
I did get my tank in the end.
So tell us about your time, because you were with Harry, right? You were with the Royals.
I was with Mr. Wales, yes.
You're like, so
Mr.
like
Sussex.
Just casual, just chilling with the Royals. But they genuinely just wanted to be a part of the team too.
Yeah, I think like at the time we treated them like officers rather than royals. Obviously, they would have their security or whatever around. But at the time, like when we were in Canada, he was my squadron 2IC. So I was driving for the squadron leader, and he was so I would get to spend time with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having an issue with my squadron leader at the time because um I I wasn't confident with what he was asking me to do all the time.
Okay.
If I'm confident with something, I'm gonna go ahead. But if I'm not, I'm gonna
Was
be
that
apprehensive.
was that knowledge or was that fear?
It was my
or
first time doing that role, and
So did you feel like out of your depth?
I felt like I
Yeah.
was well out of my depth
Mm-hmm.
because like he was asking me to do things a lot quicker than I actually was.
As if you couldn't
I
quite get your
couldn't
head
keep up
around it. Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And I don't want to make him sound like a bad person because I don't think he was. I think he just wanted, he was trying to give me that tough love kind of situation. But if I was 18,
we've all had that.
yeah.
I can understand those people, but it is
Mm.
difficult to deal with at the time.
If I was 19, 20, I would have understood and I wouldn't have cared.
Probably would have just been like a nodding dog, like,
I would have
okay,
been like, yep,
yeah.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was a point when I was driving and there was a huge, there was like, it was up to the lights on the vehicle. There was a huge stone and I couldn't see it.
Wow.
And this was as a result of him. He was up in the turret above me. So he saw it and he started yelling, "Bo, Bo, Bo," right? And I barely missed it, like barely missed it. If I had hit that right, I would have broke my neck. So I thought to myself, so I was like very apprehensive. He didn't care at that point. He just wanted somebody to do what he wanted them to do at the time. And I just thought, So when I got back to England, so I talked to Mr. Wills about it, and he said, well, you know, you're driving for one of the most difficult people in the regiment, so it's, you know, just keep your head down and keep at it.
When you draw a short straw, just gotta
so
crack
I
on.
just
That's tough though.
I got transferred from that squadron as soon as I got back to Windsor.
Did you request that?
No,
it just happened.
Said, oh, you have, the words that they used at the time was, oh, you're a family guy, you have a wife and kids and blah blah blah, so we're gonna transfer you to somewhere that's safe.
Oh, interesting.
So I was like, okay.
I mean, that's amazing.
I was destroyed. I was hurt.
Really?
Yeah. Because
did you feel that they were kind of taking you away from what you were supposed to be doing?
That's what I wanted to do. And I felt like they weren't giving me an option. I would have preferred then at that point, then they just send me back to London.
Yeah. Which was safer.
Well, if you're telling me that you want to keep me safe, then I might as well go back to London.
Yeah, I may as well not do my job.
So I went there, and then I actually got on really well. I learned a different side of the job, and it was good. And the sergeant, the corporals of horse there, they actually liked working with me.
Yeah.
And they said, all right, we're going to go to Afghanistan as well. Come with us.
Wow.
So I thought, okay. And then C Squadron came in for me because they heard I was a good driver. The corporal that I was driving for, we got on famously well. And like I had no issues with him.
Oh, you were just meant to be where you were meant to be.
Yeah. So I went back to a Sabre Squadron, C Squadron, and those guys were like family to me.
Amazing.
And they looked after me, and I excelled.
Yeah.
To the point where, you know, they recommended me for promotion and different things. And in Afghanistan, I did right by them, and they did right by me.
Yeah.
Then I got injured.
Can we talk about that?
Yep. So I went on R&R for Christmas, and I came back. Well, not for Christmas. I came back the day before Christmas. And they were moving. So basically, we were in Northern Helmand, a place called Musikala. And they were we were like extreme north going towards Pakistan. And that's where the insurgents were coming from at the time.
Right.
And what they did was they wanted to establish a patrol base up further north so that we could continue to push them further and further back. So I said, okay. They said, well, you're going to be in a CVRT going up there, which is my little tank.
Your tank.
And I up until that time, I had an amazing time in that little tank. Um, we had a lot of fun. And yeah, so basically, the operation was that we were going to park on top of a hill and we were going to establish what they call a recce screen. So a recce screen is they're going to be looking at us and other stuff is going to be happening in the background.
Okay.
So basically, we went and we parked on top of a hill, got absolutely hammered, like shot at, mortared, whatever.
Wow.
And we stayed there until the Royal Engineers were completed a patrol base around us. So they built everything,
Okay.
even around the tanks.
Wow.
Um, and then the Royal Anglian Vikings moved in with us.
Uh-huh.
So from there, the day that I got injured, it was just like a normal day, and we were going to push the enemy a little bit further back to the north. The town that we had been to, just a little thing, that town was under siege for a really long time,
Okay.
and there were families and stuff that hadn't seen each other, and
Oh my
like
gosh.
although they lived close together, there were families that didn't see each other or interact for a very, very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got there, we saw people come out on the streets, and farmers came out and started selling their vegetables and started doing things again. So it was really nice.
Yeah.
To liberate those people from that tyranny at that point in time.
There was a moment there.
It was a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw people come out in the streets through the sides. You saw people come out in the streets and hug each other, and
Wow.
they're kissing each other and doing all this. And it was incredible to see, and that happened in the space of 2 days. So the morning that I got injured, we were gonna push further back. In the days leading up, a lot of people had trod on IEDs and stuff.
Okay.
People that I ended up rehabbing with.
Wow.
And so I got up, I checked the vehicle and stuff. And this is where my religion came in, because I had this strong belief that I was protected by God. Like, I was raised in the church, and I believe I have a strong relationship with God. So at the time, they were used to me praying for them before we left.
Oh, I love that.
And I was frustrated.
Were you that guy?
I was that guy.
Yeah.
And they would be like, "What are you doing?" Like, so then it became a part of our routine and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Ritual.
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer in those.
And so, like, there was a point when we were actually, another operation we went on, we were on an IED belt, and we drove over IEDs. The initial explosions went off, but the big ones didn't go.
What?
Then another one exploded, but no one was injured. And the morning before that, the night before that, the troop leader and I were talking about my religion and my faith and and then the morning after, he was like, "Can you pray for us?" So I said, "Yeah, sure." So I did that, and no one got injured.
Wow.
The morning that I think I had an argument with my wife, and I was just like F this, like I don't.
You can swear.
I don't want to. I don't.
We'll dub it out for you guys, but you can swear.
Yeah, I don't.
It's
wanna,
a feeling.
I don't want to do this. I don't
Yeah.
and I was just like, whatever happens.
Yeah.
And it happened.
Wow.
Yep. We were driving along. They sent the Mastiffs first. The Mastiffs are massive troop carrying vehicles that can take the explosions. And the CVRTs, the scimitars, which I was in, was behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a sergeant who was working with the Afghan police / army, and he got injured, and there was a Chinook on the way in, a medical Chinook on the way in for him. They call it the medical emergency response team.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they were on the way in, and they were like, "Ooh, well, we're on the heavy fire here, so the Chinook can't land." So they're like, okay, tell the CVRT to draw the fire. So basically, we were recce screen again. So I said, Frankie, I asked my commander, Frankie, do you want me to lower my seat
Yeah.
so that you can traverse the gun, so that you can move the gun around? He said, no, I'm turret surfing, which means that we were in an area that was heavily IED'd.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't pay attention to that. I didn't know that.
Okay.
So I was like, shit. And that's the last thing I remember.
Really?
That's the very last thing I remember. Like, everything else was what I was told or what was given to me in a book.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. And so take us to that day where I take it you were in hospital, or I take it you were being cared for, you were been removed.
Yeah.
And you were being told what had happened.
Yeah. So initially what happened was then the injuries that happened were, like, I lost the left leg immediately, and the right leg, when they got me back to Bastion, they cut that off because it was too badly broken.
Wow.
And then they flew me back to Selly in Birmingham. So I was in an induced coma, largely because I was allergic to morphine.
Did they know?
No, they didn't. And I was getting too much of it as well.
Well, were you in so much pain? They probably thought you needed it.
I didn't know that I was in pain.
No.
Because, like, I'm in a coma.
Yeah.
So I'm like, who knows? So yeah, there was this nurse there that my family told me about, that he was just like, he's not responding anyway, so I wouldn't be too hopeful.
Really?
In a situation. So I was like, okay. Nurse actually did that.
Interesting.
So essentially, I was kind of, what happened was that he got transferred out, and a nurse came in and picked up that I was on too much morphine, and took me off the morphine, and I woke up the next day.
Incredible. But to wake up to the news.
Yeah. So those drugs are wicked. Let me just preface. Let me just preface that.
In such a serious conversation, that's really made me laugh.
These drugs are wicked.
These drugs are wicked.
Yeah.
We're not telling you all to go and take them. He's just, at the time.
At the time, what happened was, like, the morphine and the ketamine, they had an adverse kind of effect on me. Because I believe, for whatever reason, I believe that I was in bed with my boots on.
Oh my God. It's
horrible. It was genuinely horrible.
Yeah.
Because the nurse came in and she was trying to process what was happening, like what I was trying to tell her. And I was telling her, can you take my boots off, please?
Oh my God.
So she was just looking at me like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell him. So I said to her, like, are you, something wrong with you? Like, can you just take my boots off? So this hand, my left hand, was badly damaged.
Okay.
So I had that elevated.
Okay.
And my jaw was broken. So I don't know if, like, my words were muffled. Because I had wires.
Like, you didn't know if you were making sense to her. Yeah.
So I was like, take my boots off. So eventually she burst. She burst into tears, and she went out. And then the consultant came in with my wife and sister.
Oh, wow.
And then they broke the news of what had happened to me and all that. So then I was kind of left on my own to process what had happened.
Your whole life just changed in that moment.
Yeah. Because I couldn't move my head. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't do anything. Yeah. So that happened.
How did you get through that without thinking, I don't care, like, I can't be bothered, I'm not doing the rehab, you had no incentive, what's my purpose now? Were there moments of that, or was it Cori kicked in and you had this fire in your belly and you were just determined
Cori did not kick in.
Really?
No. No, not even a little bit.
Wow.
I took it was a couple of days, and my sister Jackie, she thought I was gonna die.
Really?
Like even after I woke up, because there was one day where I recited everything in my life. I went from day one that I can remember to up to that point. And normally they tell you when someone's gonna pass, they go back and come
And
all the
everything
way forward.
becomes very clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
That happened to me.
Okay.
And I couldn't process why I was doing it or anything. They'd taken me out of the ICU
Mm-hmm.
and like put me in a bed outside in a corridor somewhere or something. I don't know. My brain's fuzzy with it. But
Understandably, though.
Yeah. It's the first night I had pizza for sure.
He remembers the pizza.
Yeah, I remember
Guys,
the pizza.
it's the most important thing. Oh, we love pizza.
I remember pizza. Domino's Dominator.
Oh, I'm going to remember this for future ref.
Yeah.
We just want to make Cory smile. Let's get him a Domino's.
Domino's Dominator.
We love a Domino's in this house.
Yeah. And it's essentially the moment passed and I went upstairs. And then where it really struck me was my first shower. So the lady, the two things happened. In the middle of the night, I got up and for whatever reason, I was like, oh shit, I need to go to the toilet. And I got up and imagine my legs, my stumps, like with staples and stuff in it.
Mm.
And I got up and I swung off the bed. I was just like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. And I swung off and on the floor.
No.
Legs all over the place, like busted open. So, yeah, that was untidy.
Yeah. I didn't warn you guys at home about that. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is the truth, guys. Deal with it. You can handle it. If Cory did, we can.
Yeah. So
you just forgotten?
I forgot. Like I was out of it.
Wow.
So I was scheduled to see the girls and stuff, and it would have been the first time I would have seen them.
Okay.
And so on. So they stitched me back up and wherever else, and I had they put me in for a shower, and this is where I actually broke, like completely broke.
Okay.
So they put the
and
nurse,
this hadn't happened yet.
No. So the nurse put me in the shower, and she said, "Do you need help?" I said, "Nah, I'll be okay." So she wheeled me in the shower and she put the chair, like, so that I could the commode where I can turn on the shower and do everything that I needed to do. And I saw it turn on. She said, do you need help? I said, no, I'll be fine. So she shut the door and she left. So at that point, I turned the shower on and started to shower and whatnot. And at this point, like, I just looked on the floor and it was just red, completely red. My hair, like I started to wash my hair and it started coming out in like flat spots and stuff. And I completely broke at that point. Like I like crying really loudly.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And she came in and like we just both sat in the shower and cried.
Oh my God.
Like she was hugging me and crying. And I was at that point. She's like, "Cory, you know you're gonna be okay. You are gonna be okay. You are gonna get through this. You're gonna be fine."
God just had a different plan for you.
Yeah, and it was at that point she said, "All right, you're gonna see your girls this evening, and it's gonna be okay." So, at that point she finished bathing me because I couldn't do it, and she put me back to bed, and I saw the girls in the afternoon, and Jody came in and she jumped all over me and she was like, "Daddy, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna get some metal legs and you're gonna be able to teach me to ride." And I don't know if someone told her to do that, but
I don't think so.
out of the most of babes, right?
It's just a kid being a kid.
Yeah.
And it's the most beautiful thing she could have said to you.
At that point, it was at that point that Cori reemerged.
Wow.
Like
and your children gave you that.
They gave me that, and the switch got flipped, and the next day I was in the physio's room doing push-ups and all kinds of stuff.
Of course you were.
And then 2 weeks later I was walking.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'd made like from that point on, I had said, when the boys get off the bus in Windsor, I'm going to be standing there.
Oh my God, Corie, it's just like a really hard thing to hear, but the most incredible like thing to hear at the same time. I can't relate to any of that other than that you've just completely inspired me in a way that I just think we all get one life. And if you get to reinvent yourself time and time again, amazing. But if you've been dealt, a completely different set of cards that you just never foresee, ever foresaw that coming, ever, it's what you did with it. And you went on to represent, you were Britain's first European champion, winning gold, like not just competing, like you're winning. That is everything.
I think largely my philosophy on it is that you cannot allow your circumstances to define the person that you are. We're all victims of circumstance, whether you were born rich or born absolutely in the doldrums. You are a victim of circumstance. And if you allow those circumstances to dictate the person that you become, or the person that you dictate the way that you live your life, then you're either living as a victim, or you can live as I call it, living as a champion. Because if you
living as a champion,
because like you can, like the Taliban wanted to take something away from me, and if I had allowed them, I would have like succumbed to what the cards I was dealt. But I was determined not to become a victim in that regard. And I had the right support network and the right people around me to help me to see and understand there is still life here. You are not a victim. You are still a fully able-bodied human, just differently
100%.
able in different ways.
Still able.
Yeah.
Just a different
just
path.
Differently. And you can either choose to let that define who you are now, or you can define who you are now. So I was determined.
It's as if you took back control.
I took control of my life again. Yes.
Everything that you have said in this memoir that, hey, just so happens to be in my hand. Corie Mapp, the one and only. Black Ice is your nickname, right?
Yes.
Where'd that come from?
That was given to me on the tour.
Nice. Yeah. So, and this memoir, you guys, you have to go and get this book. Not only is it's your words, it's everything that's happened to you up until, well, literally. When was this published?
21.
Yeah. Just a legend. I loved your line about living as a champion. This chat, this conversation, having this time with you has honestly been an absolute honor of mine. I wish I could talk to you all day, and I would. But I just want to say thank you for telling us your story. And I hope we can all be a little bit like Corie and just live like a champion. Like, thank you again. And yeah, just go live like a champion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corie. Having had a few days to reflect after the chat with Corie, I'm still in awe of Corie's strength as he not only overcomes the difficulties of his accident, but how he's fueled to overcome and succeed in everything he puts his mind to. His focus on faith and family aligns so closely to my own beliefs. I feel so honoured to have had him as a guest and to share him with you. Thank you for listening again to Not Fazed with Faye, with me, your host, Faye Brookes, edited by the one and only Ben Collins. And remember, all episodes will go out every Friday, 6 p.m. GMT. So tune in, listen, watch and enjoy wherever you get your podcasts from. Subscribe and share, and I'll see you soon.